Hey everybody, it's Paul, and today I wanted to talk about intention setting, and specifically intention setting like a bodhisattva. So if you don't know what that word is, in Mahayana Buddhism, there's the idea of a bodhisattva is a being that delays their own enlightenment in order to facilitate everyone else's enlightenment, right? Out of a feeling of bodhicitta or spontaneous compassion for every other being in the world. Of which you are one as well. So it's not just not you, it's everything in the universe, right? And every being in the universe. And when I came to this idea because when I got back from Mexico last year, my life was in disarray. I had an awakening down there, quite an experience. And it's not like I hadn't done a lot of reading and a lot of meditating over the years, but somehow this experience really made it very clear that I needed to let go of a lot of things in my life and let a lot of things change in my life, so I could be lighter and happier and do whatever is required of me while I'm here, instead of holding on to all these stories that the ego had made up over the years. And anyway, so when, the first thing I did when I got back is I made some external changes. So I went ahead and I became a minimalist, and I got rid of most of my material possessions in the world. And what that did is it gave me insight. It was great. I felt a lot lighter and a lot less responsibility right off the bat because, I didn't have any more stuff to keep track of or to think that I needed to keep safe or to lock away or anything like that. Pretty much I have less than 300 objects now, and you could steal any of them and I wouldn't really care that much. So that was a tremendous amount of weight off. But what it gave me insight to is what else was unnecessary in my life. So what were the patterns that weren't serving me anymore? What were the habits that weren't serving me anymore? What were the relationships and the people that may not be serving me anymore? The friendships that may not be serving me anymore? Things like that. And what I had trouble with was, or what I didn't see was the intentions that didn't serve me anymore. Because what I used to do is, I consider myself a good person, and I consider myself a person who wants to improve the world. But my intentions used to be much more ego-based in that way. I really felt like I needed to carry the weight of the world, and other people needed to see me carry it so they would know that I was a good person. So talk about ego-based, right? I was like, yeah, I want to save everybody and everything, but man, do I want credit for it. That you really want to have other people see you suffer. Which is not fun for them, by the way. It does not make them think you're a good person. It makes them think that you're a person who suffers a lot, which is absolutely true. So, anyway, I did come to the insight that my intentions needed to change, and that is really when I started to explore the idea of the Bodhisattva way. Which is what they call living in the fire in Mahayana Buddhism, right? Is remaining. So every other creature can be free of pain. Every other creature can find enlightenment, and you can be the person that ferries them across to what they call the further shore, right? Or where nirvana is, where enlightenment is, right? So it sounds incredibly difficult because, well, it is incredibly difficult, but it sounds incredibly heavy. Because you are then, what you're saying in essence when you take the Bodhisattva vows is that you're responsible for everything and everyone, including yourself. And that's a lot of responsibility to take on, right? But it's actually incredibly freeing because what you're not responsible for anymore is all that crap you've been dragging behind you that the ego made up for however long you've been on this planet, right? It does your ideas. I mean, we kick ourselves so much. Like our ideas about success, our ideas about worth, our ideas about self-image, and those things still pop up. I mean, believe me, you will not find any enlightenment on this couch here. Like nirvana is not in this room at the moment, right? But insight is, and the insight is, once you start to focus like a bodhisattva, your ego gives part of itself up. Because those things cease to matter once you set your intentions. Once you set your intentions as the rest of the universe, including yourself, instead of just what those little things that the ego wants, that the little ideas about worth and success and all those things you drag behind you and regret and fear about the future and things, it doesn't matter anymore. Because what you do is you become a space. You become an emptiness. You become a vessel for other things to happen within. Now, whatever, it serves whatever is necessary in the moment, right? So if you're a space, then if people need that space, you can be that space. If a thing needs that space in order to occur, you can be the space for that. And the trick is, once you get there, is to not close, right? Don't close that space down, because not everything about setting your intention like a bodhisattva is pleasant. Certainly, there's a lot of stuff, like emotional, hairy stuff, that can happen within that space. Like when I was in Mexico the last time, not the first time when I had the awakening, the last time, I was sitting in a cafe and a man joined me, and he proceeded to tell me a story about why the reason he had moved to Mexico was that his wife had died in Canada in a car accident, and he was driving the car. And that was incredibly difficult to hear. I mean, I was tearing up at this story, sitting with this guy here, but I felt the need to just stay open, because this is what needs to happen in this space. He needs to have a witness right now, so he can tell this story one more time. And I'm that witness. I'm the space for that. So it's not always easy being the space. But it is necessary. And if you set your intention that way, it's real. Like I said, it's very freeing, and you can go into even difficult situations like that with a tremendous amount of joy, which is not what happens when you think you need credit for being a good person. When you have an ego-based intention that you set, it's not fun. Because as soon as your ego gets hit with uncomfortable stories like that, it wants to hightail it out of there, and it closes the space for that. And it says, well, whatever, I don't like hearing this. I probably won't get credit for it anyway, so let's skedaddle out of here, right? But when you are that space, and you are able to stay open, and you don't feel like you need a reward or credit for any of these things, when you are that bodhisattva intention, then it's amazing what can happen, the transformations. And once you make a commitment to do that, the universe just starts sending you things. I mean, people are sent my way every day, and sometimes it's for really mundane reasons, and sometimes it's for really incredibly deep reasons that you just don't even expect or even know how it happened. It's just like, that was amazing, you think, at the end of the experience. And this is a daily occurrence for me right now. And it was probably always there, right? It was just that I was closed to it. But now that I'm open to it, people can feel that, and they're attracted to that openness. They're attracted, they say, this is a space, this is a safe, compassionate space. I can open up in this space, or I can get what I need from this space. And that's tremendously freeing for that person, but also tremendously gratifying and freeing for the person who set their intention that way, which is me in this case. So I'm going to give you a little, what is called the Bodhisattva Prayer. I'll use prayer loosely, because Buddhism is a non-theistic philosophy, but it is called the Bodhisattva Prayer, and there are many different versions of this. And so if you look on the internet and it doesn't jibe with what I'm saying right now, there's reason for that, because there's many different versions of it. What I've done is I've cobbled together all my favorite bits of different Bodhisattva prayers into one that makes the most sense for me. And this is what I start my meditation with for the first 10 minutes every morning. And it goes like this. Let me be a protector to those without protection. Let me be a leader for those who journey. May I be a boat, a bridge, and a passage for those who desire the further shore. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be a nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed, and the pain of every living creature is completely swept away. And for as long as space remains, and for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I also remain, to dispel the miseries of the world. So like I said, I'll start the first 10 minutes of my sitting with that recitation over and over and over again. And if I'm having trouble focusing, I can always come back to that again. And it really does calm the mind. And even if no other insights come up during the meditation, I know that just by setting that intention, when I leave the house that day, I'm ready to be that space. So if that sounds attractive for you, please try it on. Like the Buddha said, don't believe anything I say. You have to try it out for yourself. Don't believe anything any teacher says or anybody says, right? Go ahead, try it on yourself. I suggest you try it on for a little while. This is not something that's going to happen the first day in your meditation. You're going to go out and feel like, oh, I am this space. I would say 30 days would be a good amount of time if you're doing a daily meditation to try this kind of thing on. And hopefully you'll find as much joy in it as I have found in it, as much freedom as I have found in it. And that's my Bodhisattva wish for you. All right, and I'll talk to you soon. See you next time.